Introduction. Most people live their entire lives waiting for the right moment, waiting for motivation, waiting for clarity, waiting for circumstances to align. They tell themselves, when things calm down, I'll start. When I feel ready, I'll commit. When life gets easier, I'll go all in. But that moment never comes, because discipline is not born from comfort. Focus is not found in perfect conditions. Momentum does not arrive when you're ready. It is built when you decide to move anyway. This audiobook is not about motivation. Motivation is a spark, useful but temporary. This is about something far more powerful. Relentless systems, unbreakable focus, and the kind of discipline that doesn't need permission from your feelings to show up every single day. You are surrounded by distraction. The world is designed to fracture your attention, fragment your energy, and keep you reactive. Social media, endless notifications, the dopamine slot machine in your pocket, a culture that celebrates hustle but rewards distraction. It's not your fault that focus feels impossible, but it is your responsibility to take it back. The truth is this. Most people are not failing because they lack talent, intelligence, or resources. They're failing because they lack systems. They rely on willpower, which is finite. They chase feelings, which are unreliable. They confuse activity with progress and mistake busyness for momentum. Leaders, creators, and high performers know something different. They know that discipline is a designed behavior, not a personality trait. They know that focus is trained, not inherited. They know that momentum is a system you build, brick by brick, decision by decision, day by day. This book will teach you how to build that system. You will learn why your brain resists discipline and how to work with your neurobiology, not against it. You'll discover the hidden mechanisms of focus, how attention is hijacked, and how to reclaim it. You'll see the difference between reactive living and intentional momentum, between chasing goals and becoming the kind of person for whom success is inevitable. You'll learn to design your environment, your habits, your identity, so that discipline becomes automatic, focus becomes your default state, and momentum becomes unstoppable. This is not theory. Every chapter is grounded in neuroscience, behavioral psychology, and real-world application. You'll see micro-stories of people who transform their lives, not through motivation but through systems. You'll get exact scripts for the voice in your head. You'll receive practical exercises you can start today. By the end of this audiobook, you will no longer be at the mercy of your moods. You will no longer wait for the perfect moment. You will have built something more valuable than talent or luck. A relentless, self-sustaining system of discipline that carries you forward, even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. The world rewards those who show up, consistently, quietly, without excuse. This book will teach you how to become that person. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Why Discipline Fails and How to Fix It. 1 micro story. Alex wakes up at 5 a.m., heart full of determination. Today is different. Today, discipline begins. He writes down his goals. Gym before work, no social media, 2 hours of deep work, healthy meals, early to bed. He feels invincible. By 9 a.m., a coworker brings donuts. Alex takes one. Just this once. By noon, he's scrolling Instagram during lunch. Just 5 minutes to relax. By 3 p.m., his energy crashes. The deep work session never happens. By 8 p.m., he's on the couch, Netflix playing, promise broken. Again, he tells himself, I'll start fresh tomorrow. But tomorrow looks the same, and the day after. The cycle repeats until the goal becomes a distant memory, replaced by quiet shame and the belief that maybe he's just not disciplined enough. But Alex's problem isn't discipline. It's his understanding of how discipline actually works. 2 deep mechanism analysis. Discipline fails for one fundamental reason. People treat it like motivation. Motivation is an emotion. It rises and falls. It depends on how you feel, what happened yesterday, how much sleep you got, whether the sun is shining. Discipline, by contrast, is a system. It's architecture. It doesn't care about your feelings. It functions regardless. Most people approach discipline backwards. They wait to feel motivated, then act. But discipline works the opposite way. You act first and motivation follows. Action creates momentum. Momentum creates identity. Identity makes discipline automatic. Here's what actually happens in the brain when discipline fails. Willpower depletion. Willpower is a finite resource governed by the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for self-control, decision-making, and resisting temptation. Every decision you make throughout the day drains this reserve. By evening, your willpower tank is empty. This is why most people collapse into old habits at night. They've been making micro-decisions all day, and the brain defaults to ease. Dopamine hijacking. Your brain is wired to seek immediate rewards. Scrolling, junk food, binge-watching all deliver instant dopamine hits. Long-term goals like fitness, learning, or building a business? The reward is distant. Delayed gratification requires overriding the brain's natural preference for now over later. Without systems in place, the brain will always choose the donut over the gym. Identity. Mismatch. If you see yourself as someone trying to be disciplined, you're fighting against your own self-concept. Every act of discipline feels like friction, but if you see yourself as someone who is disciplined, the behavior becomes congruent with identity. You're not forcing yourself, you're simply being yourself. Environmental friction. Your environment is either designed for discipline or designed for distraction. If your phone is next to your bed, you will check it. If junk food is in your pantry, you will eat it. If your workspace is chaotic, your mind will mirror it. Most people try to fight their environment with willpower. They lose every time. Lack of systems. People set goals. I want to get fit. I want to focus more. But goals without systems are fantasies. Systems are the daily behaviors, triggers, and structures that make discipline inevitable. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. The solution is not more motivation, it's better design. Discipline is engineered, not summoned. 3 real-life scenarios. Morning routine, collapse. Non-disciplined, alarm goes off, hits snooze, checks phone in bed, scrolls for 20 minutes, rushes out the door, reactive all day. Disciplined, alarm across the room, feet hit the floor. Pre-decided morning sequence, water, movement, focus block. Day starts with intention, not distraction. Workplace distraction. Non-disciplined, sits down to work, phone buzzes, checks it. Email notification, responds. Coworker stops by, 2 hours pass, nothing deep accomplished. Disciplined, phone in another room, email closed, 90-minute focus block non-negotiable. Deep work protected like a meeting with the CEO. Evening willpower drain. Non-disciplined, gets home exhausted. I deserve a break, opens Netflix. 3 episodes later, regret sets in. Disciplined, pre-decides evening structure. Gym clothes laid out, meal prepped. No decisions required, just follow the system. Diet discipline. Non-disciplined, I'll eat healthy starting Monday. Monday comes, stress hits, orders takeout. I'll start next week. Disciplined, no junk food in the house, meals prepped Sunday. Hunger doesn't trigger decisions, it triggers the plan. Learning goals. Non-disciplined, I'm going to read more. Buys 5 books, reads 2 pages, never opens them again. Disciplined, 10 pages before bed, non-negotiable. Kindle on nightstand, phone charging in another room. Small, consistent, systemic. Fitness commitment. Non-disciplined, joins gym. January 1st, goes 3 times, stops. I just don't have time. Disciplined. Workouts scheduled like work meetings, gym bag and car. If life gets chaotic, 15-minute home workout instead of 0. System adapts, never breaks. 4 scripts, what to say, what to think. I don't wait to feel motivated, I act and motivation follows. Discipline is my system, not my mood. I am someone who shows up regardless of how I feel. My environment is designed for the person I'm becoming. Willpower is limited. Systems are infinite. I don't rely on decision-making in the moment. I decide once, then execute. Small actions repeated daily become identity. I protect my focus like I protect my income. Discipline isn't punishment, it's freedom. I fall to the level of my system, so I build better systems. 5 practical exercises. Exercise 1, willpower audit. For 3 days, track every moment you relied on willpower to stay disciplined. Notice patterns, time of day, emotional state, environment. Then redesign one high-friction moment to require 0 willpower. Example, remove temptation entirely, automate the decision. Exercise 2, identity script. Write 3 sentences starting with, I am someone who, that describe your disciplined identity. Example, I am someone who prioritizes deep work. Read these aloud every morning for 14 days. Notice how behavior begins to align. Exercise. 3. Environment design. Choose one area of discipline, fitness, focus, diet. Redesign your environment to make the disciplined choice the easiest choice. Remove friction from good habits. Add friction to bad ones. Exercise. 4. The 2-minute rule. For any habit you want to build, reduce it to a 2-minute version. Want to read daily? Read 1 page. Want to work out? Do 1 push-up. The goal is to show up. Momentum builds from there. Exercise. 5. Pre-decide tomorrow, tonight. Before bed, write down your top 3 priorities for tomorrow and the exact time you'll do them. No morning decisions, just execution. Chapter 2. The Neuroscience of Focus, How Your Brain Actually Works. 1. Micro story. Maya sits at her desk, laptop open, coffee steaming. She has 2 hours to finish a critical report. She opens the document, reads the first paragraph, then, ping, a text message. She glances, replies, returns to the document. 30 seconds later, she wonders if her email came through, checks, sees 3 new messages, responds to 1, returns to the document, reads another sentence. Her mind drifts. Did I pay that bill? What's for dinner? I should check the weather. She opens another tab. 15 minutes vanish. She snaps back, frustrated. Why can't I just focus? 2 hours pass. The report is half finished, riddled with errors. Maya feels exhausted, anxious, and defeated, not because she didn't try, but because she was fighting her brain's wiring without understanding the rules. Focus is not a character flaw. It's a skill. And like any skill, it requires understanding the mechanism before you can master it. 2. Deep mechanism analysis. Your brain is not designed for focus, it's designed for survival. For thousands of years, the human brain evolved in environments where constant scanning for threats and opportunities kept you alive. Predators, food sources, danger signals. The brain that noticed everything survived. The brain that focused deeply on one thing often didn't. This wiring remains. Your brain is a distraction-seeking machine. It's not broken, it's functioning exactly as evolution designed it. But the modern world has weaponized this biology against you. Here's what happens neurologically when you try to focus. The prefrontal cortex versus the limbic system. Focus happens in the prefrontal cortex, the executive center of your brain responsible for planning, decision-making, and sustained attention. But the limbic system, which governs emotions and immediate gratification, is faster and louder. When you try to focus, the limbic system screams, "Check your phone. Something might be happening." The prefrontal cortex whispers, Stay on task. Guess who usually wins? Attention residue. Every time you switch tasks, even for a second, your brain leaves attention residue behind. Part of your cognitive load is still processing the last thing you looked at. When you check your phone mid-task, your brain doesn't instantly return to full focus. It lingers. Studies show it can take 15-25 minutes to fully re-engage after a distraction. Most people never achieve deep focus because they're constantly switching. Dopamine and novelty seeking. Your brain craves novelty. New information triggers dopamine release. Scrolling, checking notifications, opening tabs, all deliver micro hits of dopamine. Sustained focus on a single task. Low dopamine. The brain interprets this as boring and pushes you toward distraction. You're not weak. You're neurochemically primed to seek stimulation. The default mode network, DMN. When your brain isn't actively focused, it shifts into the default mode network, a state of mind-wandering, daydreaming, and self-referential thought. This mode is useful for creativity and reflection, but it's the enemy of execution. Most people spend their entire day bouncing between shallow focus and DMN, never reaching the deep focus state where real work happens. Cognitive load and working memory. Your working memory, the mental scratch pad that holds information while you work, has limited capacity. When you overload it with multiple tasks, notifications, or distractions, performance collapses. Deep focus requires clearing cognitive load, single tasking, removing interruptions, and giving your working memory room to operate. The good news? Your brain is plastic. Neuroplasticity means you can train your brain to focus. The prefrontal cortex strengthens with practice. Attention is a muscle. The more you practice sustained focus, the easier it becomes. But first, you must stop fighting your biology and start designing around it. 3 real-life scenarios. Trying to work with phone, nearby. Non-focused, phone on desk, face up. Notifications light up the screen. Every ping pulls attention. Work takes 3 times longer. Quality suffers. Focused. Phone in another room on Do Not Disturb. Brain stops scanning for interruptions. Deep work begins within minutes. Multitasking meetings. Non-focused. In a Zoom call while answering emails. Misses key information. Has to ask others to repeat. Feels scattered. Focused. Closes all tabs except the meeting, takes notes, fully present, retains information, contributes meaningfully, meeting ends faster. Morning email trap. Non-focused, wakes up, immediately checks email, reacts to others' priorities, entire morning spent in reactive mode. Focused, first 90 minutes of the day, no email, no messages, deep work on top priority. Email checked after momentum is established. Study sessions. Non-focused, opens textbook, music playing, phone nearby. Checks Instagram, just for a second. 2 hours pass, 1 chapter half read. Focused, 25-minute Pomodoro block, phone off, single task, break, repeat. 3 hours of actual learning in the same time frame. Creative work. Non-focused, opens blank document, starts writing, remembers something, opens browser, falls into research rabbit hole, writes 3 sentences in an hour. Focused, pre-research done, document open, timer set, no tabs, writes for 45 minutes straight, flow state achieved, draft completed. Evening relaxation. Non-focused, sits down to relax, scrolls phone while TV plays, brain overstimulated, exhausted, can't sleep later. Focused, intentional rest. 1 activity, book, walk, or conversation, brain actually recovers. Sleep comes easier. 4 scripts, what to say, what to think. My brain craves distraction. I will design around it, not fight it. Focus is a trained skill, not a personality trait. Every distraction costs me 15 minutes of deep work. I protect my attention like I protect my money. Multitasking is a myth. I single task with intensity. My prefrontal cortex is a muscle. I'm training it right now. Boredom is not a signal to quit. It's a signal I'm building focus. I don't check my phone, I decide when to check my phone. Deep work is my competitive advantage. Attention residue is real. I eliminate task switching. 5. Practical exercises. Exercise. 1. Phone separation experiment. For one full workday, keep your phone in a drawer or another room. Set specific times to check it, e.g. 12 p.m., 3 p.m., 6 p.m. Track how your focus, mood, and productivity shift. Exercise. 2. Pomodoro focus training. Set a timer for 25 minutes. Choose one task. Work on nothing else. When the timer ends, take a 5-minute break. Repeat 4 times, then take a longer break. Do this daily for 2 weeks. Your focus endurance will visibly increase. Exercise. 3. Single tab rule. For 1 week, allow only one browser tab open at a time. Close everything else. Notice how decision fatigue drops and clarity rises. Exercise 4. Morning deep work block. Protect the first 90 minutes of your day. No email, no messages, no meetings. One priority task. Do this for 7 days and measure your output compared to a normal week. Exercise. 5. Attention audit. Set a timer to go off every 30 minutes for 1 day. When it rings, note what you're doing. Are you focused or distracted? This awareness reveals your focus patterns and where to intervene. Chapter 3. Building systems, not relying on motivation. Micro story. Liam has tried to build a morning routine 17 times. Each time starts the same way. A burst of motivation after watching an inspiring video or reading a productivity book. He sets his alarm for 5 a.m. He imagines himself meditating, journaling, working out, unstoppable. Day 1 goes perfectly. He feels invincible. Day 2 is harder, but he pushes through. By day 3, he hits snooze. Just today, I'm tired. By day 5, the routine is dead. The alarm is turned off. Liam is back to scrolling his phone in bed, starting his day reactive and scattered. He blames himself. I just don't have discipline. But Liam's problem isn't lack of discipline. It's reliance on motivation. Motivation is a spark. Systems are the engine. Sparks fade. Engines run. One day, Liam stops chasing feelings and starts building structure. He puts his alarm across the room. He lays out his workout clothes the night before. He removes all decisions from the morning. Just a sequence of actions, pre-decided and automatic. 3 months later, the routine isn't a struggle, it's just what he does. Not because he feels motivated, but because the system carries him. 2. Deep mechanism analysis. Motivation is the worst foundation for discipline. It's unreliable, emotional, and fleeting. Systems, by contrast, are mechanical. They function whether you feel inspired or not. Here's why motivation fails and systems succeed. Motivation is emotion-dependent. Motivation rises when you're excited, rested, or inspired. It crashes when you're tired, stressed, or discouraged. If your discipline depends on how you feel, it will always be inconsistent. Systems remove feelings from the equation. You act because the structure demands it, not because you're in the mood. Motivation depletes over time. The excitement of a new goal fades. Neuroscience shows that dopamine spikes highest at the beginning of a pursuit, then drops as the behavior becomes routine. Motivation is strongest on day 1 and weakest on day 30. Systems are the opposite. They strengthen with repetition. Systems reduce decision fatigue. Every decision you make drains mental energy. Should I work out today? What should I eat? When should I start? These micro-decisions accumulate, depleting willpower. Systems eliminate decisions you don't choose. You follow the preset sequence. This preserves cognitive resources for what actually matters. Systems create identity. Motivation says, I want to be disciplined. Systems say, I am disciplined. Every time you follow your system, you reinforce identity. Over time, the behavior becomes who you are, not something you try to do. Motivation is external. Systems are internal. Motivation often comes from outside, a video, a quote, a success story. When the external source fades, so does the drive. Systems are internal architecture. Once built, they're self-sustaining. Systems allow for adaptation. Life disrupts motivation. A bad day, a crisis, a schedule change. Motivation crumbles. Systems adapt. Missed your morning workout? The system has a backup. 15 minutes at lunch. Traveling? The system adjusts. Bodyweight exercises in the hotel room. Flexibility within structure keeps momentum alive. The formula is simple. Goal, system, identity. You don't achieve goals through willpower. You build systems that make the goal inevitable. Then you repeat the system until it becomes identity. At that point, discipline is effortless, not because you're superhuman, but because you've designed your life to make discipline the default. 3 real-life scenarios. Fitness goals. Motivation-based. I'm going to get fit this year. Joins gym. Goes 5 times. Stops. Feels shame. System-based. Workout scheduled Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 6 a.m. Gym bag packed the night before. No decisions, just execution. 6 months later, fitness is identity. Learning a skill. Motivation-based. I want to learn Spanish. Downloads app. Uses it for 3 days. Forgets. Never opens it again. System-based. Duolingo every morning after coffee. Non-negotiable. 10 minutes tracked on calendar. 1 year later, conversational fluency. Building a business. Motivation-based. Bursts of 12-hour work sessions when inspired. Weeks of inactivity when not. Progress stalls. System-based. 2-hour deep work block, 9-11 a.m. every weekday, no exceptions. Steady, compounding progress, business grows. Reading more. Motivation-based. I'm going to read 50 books this year. Reads 2. Life gets busy. Quits. System-based, 20 pages before bed. Kindle on nightstand. Phone charges in another room. Finishes 40 books by December. Healthy eating. Motivation-based. Starting Monday, only clean eating. Lasts 3 days. One stressful evening, orders takeout. I'll start over next week. System-based, meal prep Sunday. No junk food in the house. Healthy snacks pre-portioned. No in-the-moment decisions. Consistency maintained. Morning routine. Motivation-based. Tries to wake up early when feeling motivated. Inconsistent. Routine never sticks. System-based. Alarm across the room. Pre-decided sequence. Water, stretch, journal. Clothes laid out. Morning becomes automatic. 4. Scripts. What to say. What to think. I don't rely on motivation. I rely on systems. My discipline is mechanical, not emotional. I follow the system whether I feel like it or not. Consistency beats intensity every time. I build identity through repetition, not inspiration. Systems are stronger than willpower. I design my environment so discipline is automatic. I don't wait to feel ready. The system moves me forward. Small systems repeated daily create massive results. I am someone who follows through because my system makes it inevitable. 5 practical exercises. Exercise 1. Habit stacking. Choose one habit you want to build. Stack it onto an existing routine. Example. After I pour my morning coffee, I will write 1 sentence in my journal. The existing habit becomes the trigger for the new one. Repeat for 30 days. Exercise. 2. The Sunday Blueprint. Every Sunday, plan your week in detail. Block time for priorities, deep work, fitness, learning, rest. Treat these blocks like unmovable appointments. During the week, don't decide, just execute the plan. Exercise 3. Environment Redesign. Choose one goal. Redesign your environment to make the desired behavior automatic and the undesired behavior difficult. Example: want to read more? Place a book on your pillow. Want to stop scrolling? Delete social apps from your phone. Exercise 4. The 2-day rule. Never skip your system 2 days in a row. Miss one day? Life happens. But the second day is non-negotiable. This rule keeps systems alive even during chaos. Exercise 5. System Audit. List 3 areas where you rely on motivation. For each, design a system. What's the trigger? What's the routine? What's the reward? Write it down. Test it for 2 weeks. Refine. Lock it in. Chapter 4. The Identity Shift. Becoming the person who doesn't need to try. 1. Micro story. For years, Rachel fought herself. She fought to wake up early. She fought to go to the gym. She fought to stay focused at work. Every day was a battle between who she was and who she wanted to be. Then one day, something shifted. She stopped asking, "How do I force myself to be disciplined?" and started asking, "Who do disciplined people become?" She realized, disciplined people don't fight themselves. They've become someone for whom discipline is natural. A runner doesn't debate whether to run. They just run, because that's who they are. A writer doesn't wrestle with writing. They write, because it's their identity. Rachel stopped trying to do disciplined things. She started becoming a disciplined person. She began introducing herself differently. Not, "I'm trying to get fit," but "I'm someone who trains." Not, "I want to be more focused," but "I'm someone who protects my attention." At first, it felt like a lie, but she kept acting as that person would act. She kept making the choices that person would make. Months passed. The gap between who she was and who she claimed to be closed. One morning, she woke up early without an alarm. She didn't think about it. She just did it. That's when she knew. The identity had solidified. She was no longer trying. She had become. 2. Deep mechanism analysis. Most people approach discipline from the outside in. They focus on outcomes. I want to lose weight. I want to build a business. I want to be productive. But sustainable discipline works from the inside out. It starts with identity. Here's why identity-based discipline is the only kind that lasts. Behavior follows identity. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you believe you are. If you see yourself as someone who struggles with discipline, you'll act accordingly, even when you don't mean to. If you see yourself as someone who is disciplined, your behavior aligns automatically. You're not fighting against your self-concept. You're living in harmony with it. Outcomes are lagging indicators. When you focus on outcomes, progress feels slow. You work out for a week and see no change. You write for a month and your book isn't finished. Frustration builds. You quit. But when you focus on identity, every action is a win. Every workout proves, I am someone who trains. Every focused work session proves, I am someone who produces. The outcome becomes inevitable, but you're not waiting for it to feel successful. Identity creates intrinsic motivation. Extrinsic motivation, rewards, praise, outcomes fades. Intrinsic motivation, acting because it's who you are, endures. You don't need external validation when your behavior reflects your core identity. The action itself is the reward. The brain seeks consistency. Your brain has a powerful drive for internal consistency. When you declare an identity, I am a focused person, and then act against it, you experience cognitive dissonance. This discomfort pushes you back into alignment. Over time, your brain will defend your identity by nudging you toward behaviors that match it. Small wins compound into identity. You don't wake up one day as a new person. Identity is built through repetition. Every small disciplined action is evidence. Evidence accumulates. At some point, the weight of evidence is undeniable, and your self-concept shifts permanently. The process looks like this. Step 1. Decide who you want to become. Not what you want to achieve, who you want to be. I am someone who takes care of their body. I am someone who finishes what they start. I am someone who shows up no matter what. Step 2. Prove it to yourself with small actions. Every workout is proof. Every focused hour is proof. Every time you follow through, you're casting a vote for that identity. Step 3. Let the identity guide your decisions. When faced with a choice, ask, what would someone with my identity do? Not, what do I feel like doing? Identity becomes your compass. Step 4. Protect the identity. Once established, your identity becomes precious. Breaking it feels like betraying yourself. This is when discipline becomes effortless, not because the actions are easy, but because not doing them feels wrong. The shift from, I want to be disciplined, to I am disciplined is the most powerful transformation you can make. It turns discipline from an external struggle into an internal truth. 3 real-life scenarios. Fitness identity. Old mindset. I need to lose weight. I'll try to work out more. New identity. I am someone who trains. Every session reinforces identity regardless of weight. Discipline becomes automatic. Professional identity. Old mindset. I want to be successful. I'll work harder when I feel motivated. New identity. I am someone who executes. Deep work becomes non-negotiable. Results follow. Learning identity. Old mindset. I wish I read more books. New identity. I am a reader. Reading becomes part of who you are. You don't need to force it. You're just being yourself. Financial identity. Old mindset. I should save money. New identity. I am someone who is financially disciplined. Impulse purchases feel inconsistent with identity. Saving becomes natural. Creative identity. Old mindset. I want to write a book someday. New identity. I am a writer. Writers write. The book becomes inevitable because the identity demands it. Focus identity. Old mindset. I'm so distracted, I need to focus more. New identity. I am someone who protects my attention. Phone stays off. Deep work is defended. Identity enforces behavior. 4. Scripts. What to say. What to think. I am someone who follows through. I am someone who shows up even when it's hard. I am someone who protects my time and energy. I am disciplined. This is who I am, not what I try to do. Every action I take is a vote for my identity. I don't skip, because that's not who I am. I am becoming the person I've decided to be. My identity is stronger than my mood. What would someone with my identity do right now? I prove my identity with every decision. 5. Practical exercises. Exercise. 1. Identity declaration. Write down 3 identity statements. Example. I am someone who takes care of their body. I am someone who finishes what they start. Read them aloud every morning for 30 days. Notice how behavior begins to align. Exercise. 2. Evidence journal. Each evening, write down 3 small actions you took that day that prove your desired identity. I worked out, proof I'm someone who trains. I focused for 90 minutes, proof I'm disciplined. Watch the evidence accumulate. Exercise 3. The identity question. Before making any decision, What to eat, whether to work out, how to spend your evening. Ask, what would someone with my identity do? Let identity guide the choice, not mood. Exercise. 4. Social identity reinforcement. Tell 3 people about your new identity, not your goals, your identity. I'm a runner. I'm someone who builds businesses. When others see you this way, it reinforces the shift. Exercise 5. Protect the streak. Once you've built a habit that reinforces your identity, never break it 2 days in a row. Miss one day, life happens. But day 2 is sacred. Protecting the streak protects the identity. Chapter 5. Eliminating distractions, reclaiming your attention. Micro story. Ethan sits down to write. He has 2 hours, enough time to make real progress on his project. He opens his laptop, cracks his knuckles, and stares at the blank page. Then his phone buzzes. A notification. He glances. Just checking. He unlocks it. Scrolls Instagram for 2 minutes. 10 minutes pass. He returns to the document. Types a sentence. His mind wanders. Did I reply to that email? He opens his inbox. 13 unread messages. He responds to 3. Checks Slack. Sees a thread. Reads. Replies. 20 minutes gone. He refocuses, writes another sentence. His brain feels sluggish, fragmented. Another notification. He checks. This time it's a video someone sent. Just one video. 5 minutes becomes 15. 2 hours pass. He's written 3 sentences. He closes the laptop, frustrated and exhausted. Not because he didn't try, but because he tried to focus in an environment designed to fracture his attention. The problem isn't Ethan. It's the battlefield. And until he controls his environment, discipline will always be a losing fight. 2. Deep mechanism analysis. Your attention is under siege. Every app, platform, and device is engineered to capture and hold it. Infinite scroll, autoplay, push notifications, algorithmic feeds that learn your weaknesses and exploit them. This isn't an accident. It's a business model. Your attention is the product. And most people are fighting this system with willpower alone. They lose. Here's why distraction wins and how to reclaim control. The attention economy. Tech companies employ psychologists, neuroscientists, and behavioral designers to make their platforms addictive. Variable reward schedules, like a slot machine, social validation, likes, comments, and FOMO, fear of missing out, are deliberately baked into the design. Your willpower is no match for billion-dollar engineering teams optimizing for engagement. Context. Switching destroys productivity. Every time you switch from focused work to checking your phone, your brain has to reorient. Neuroscientists call this attention residue. Part of your cognitive capacity remains stuck on the previous task. Studies show it takes 15 to 25 minutes to fully return to deep focus after an interruption. Most people never get there. They're interrupted again before they recover. Notifications are designed to hijack. Every buzz, ping, or flash triggers a dopamine response. Your brain interprets it as urgent even when it's not. Over time, your nervous system becomes trained to expect and crave these interruptions. Silence feels uncomfortable. Boredom feels unbearable. You reach for your phone not because you want to, but because your brain has been conditioned to. Decision fatigue from micro-choices. Should I check this? Should I respond now? Should I open this tab? Every distraction is a decision. Decisions drain willpower. By the time you sit down to focus, your cognitive tank is already half empty. Eliminating distractions isn't about self-control, it's about removing the need for control in the first place. Environmental design versus willpower. You can have perfect discipline, but if your phone is within arm's reach, you will check it. If your workspace is chaotic, your mind will mirror it. If Netflix autoplays the next episode, you will watch it. Discipline works when it's supported by design. Without design, even the strongest person will crack. The solution is not more willpower. It's ruthless environmental control. You must treat your attention like a scarce, valuable resource, because it is. Every distraction is a thief. Every notification is an intruder. Your job is to build walls, close doors, and create a fortress where deep work can happen. 3 real-life scenarios. Phone during work. Distracted approach, phone on desk, face up. Every notification pulls focus. Work takes 3 hours instead of 1. Focused approach, phone in another room on airplane mode. No access until work block is complete. Deep work achieved in 90 minutes. Open door office culture. Distracted approach, door open, colleagues stopping by constantly. Quick question becomes 30 interruptions, nothing deep gets done. Focused approach, door closed, sign posted, deep work, back at 11 a.m. Protected time, significant progress made. Social media, just checking. Distracted approach, opens Instagram, just for a second. Algorithm pulls you in, 20 minutes vanish, mental energy drained. Focused approach, social media deleted from phone, only accessible on desktop during designated times, attention preserved. Email, reactivity. Distracted approach, email open all day, every new message triggers a response. Day spent reacting to others' priorities, personal goals ignored. Focused approach, email checked twice daily, 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. Everything else is protected focus time. Priorities stay on track. Streaming autoplay. Distracted approach, sits down to watch 1 episode. Autoplay begins. 3 hours later, still watching. Regret sets in. Focused approach, autoplay disabled. Episode ends, screen turns off. Intentional choice required to continue. Control restored. Workspace chaos. Distracted approach, desk cluttered, tabs everywhere, distractions visible. Mind scattered, focus impossible. Focused approach, clean desk. 1 project, 1 tab, 1 task. Environment mirrors focus. Productivity soars. 4. Scripts, what to say, what to think. My attention is my most valuable asset. I protect it ruthlessly. Every distraction is a thief. I lock the doors. I design my environment so focus is automatic. Notifications do not control my day. I control my day. I am unavailable during deep work. No exceptions. My phone is a tool, not a master. Distraction is not a character flaw, it's an environmental problem. I fix the environment. I single task with intensity. Boredom is not a crisis, it's the entry point to deep focus. I eliminate temptation instead of fighting it. 5. Practical exercises. Exercise. 1. Phone quarantine. For 1 full week, remove your phone from your workspace entirely. Place it in another room during all focus blocks. Track the difference in productivity, clarity, and stress levels. Exercise. 2. Notification purge. Go into your phone settings. Turn off all non-essential notifications. Only allow calls and texts from critical contacts. Experience the silence. Notice how your nervous system calms. Exercise 3. Single tab rule. For 1 week, enforce a strict 1-tab rule. Close all browser tabs except the one you're actively using. Watch decision fatigue drop and focus sharpen. Exercise. 4. Deep work bunker. Create a physical or digital environment exclusively for deep work. Clean desk, no distractions, no access to entertainment. Enter this space only when you're ready to focus. Train your brain to associate the environment with productivity. Exercise 5. Distraction log. For 3 days, every time you get distracted, write it down. What distracted you, how long you were pulled away, and how you felt after. Patterns will emerge. Eliminate the top 3 sources. Chapter 6. The Power of Momentum. How to Start and Never Stop. 1. Micro story: for 3 years, Nadia dreamed of launching her online business. She researched, she planned, she made lists, she watched videos. She told herself, "I'm almost ready." But she never started. The project felt massive, overwhelming. The voice in her head whispered, "You don't know enough yet. What if it fails? You're not ready." One day, after yet another night of scrolling instead of building, Nadia made a decision. She would stop preparing and start moving. Not with a grand launch, just one small step. She wrote one paragraph of website copy. That's it. 5 minutes of work. The next day, she wrote another paragraph. Then she designed one button. Then she recorded one 30-second video. Each action was tiny, insignificant on its own. But something began to shift. Momentum. Within 2 weeks, the website was live. Within a month, she had her first customer. Within 6 months, the business was generating real income. Not because she became suddenly talented or fearless, but because she learned the secret of momentum. Objects in motion stay in motion. Starting is hard. Continuing is easy. The key is to start so small that resistance has no room to grow. 2. Deep mechanism analysis. Momentum is the most underrated force in discipline. It's the difference between people who start 100 projects and finish none, and people who start one and see it through to completion. Here's the science and psychology of momentum. Newton's first law applied to behavior. An object at rest stays at rest. An object in motion stays in motion. This isn't just physics, it's human behavior. The hardest part of any task is starting. Once you're moving, continuing requires far less energy. Your brain resists initiation but rewards continuation. Activation energy. Every task has an activation energy, the initial effort required to begin. For most people, this energy feels impossibly high. I need to write a book feels overwhelming. I need to write one sentence feels doable. The key is lowering activation energy to near zero. Once you've started, momentum takes over. The Zeigarnik effect. Your brain hates unfinished tasks. Once you begin something, your mind creates psychological tension until it's complete. This is why starting, even for 2 minutes, makes it easier to return. You've opened a loop. Your brain wants to close it. Dopamine and progress. Progress, no matter how small, releases dopamine. Dopamine fuels motivation. Each tiny win makes the next action easier. Momentum becomes self-reinforcing. Action, progress, dopamine, more action. This is the positive feedback loop that turns discipline into flow. Identity reinforcement. Every time you take action, you're casting a vote for your identity. I am someone who follows through. With enough votes, the identity solidifies. Once momentum is tied to identity, stopping feels like betraying yourself. Compound momentum. Small actions don't just add, they multiply. One workout leads to better sleep. Better sleep leads to better focus. Better focus leads to more productivity. Productivity leads to confidence. Confidence leads to more action. Momentum compounds across every area of life. The trap most people fall into is waiting for perfect conditions. Perfect clarity, perfect energy, perfect timing. But momentum doesn't start from perfection. It starts from motion. You don't need to see the whole staircase. You just need to take the first step, then the second, then the third. Before you know it, you're halfway up, not because you planned it perfectly, but because you refuse to stop moving. The formula is simple. Start ridiculously small. Build consistency. Let momentum carry you. 3 real-life scenarios. Writing a book. Stuck approach. I need to write a book. Stares at blank page. Feels paralyzed. Never starts. Momentum approach. I'll write one sentence. Writes it. Momentum begins. One sentence becomes a paragraph. Paragraph becomes a page. 6 months later, book is done. Fitness journey. Stuck approach. I need to get in shape. Joins gym. Plans intense routine too hard. Quits after 1 week. Momentum approach. I'll do 1 push-up. Does it. Next day, 2 push-ups. Builds slowly. 6 months later, working out is automatic. Building a business. Stuck approach. I need a perfect business plan. Researches for months, never launches, stays stuck in preparation. Momentum approach. I'll create 1 landing page. Launches it. Gets feedback. Iterates. Momentum builds. Business grows. Learning a skill. Stuck approach. I want to learn guitar. Buys guitar. Feels overwhelmed by tutorials. Guitar collects dust. Momentum approach. I'll practice 1 chord. Practices it. Next day, 1 more. 3 months later, playing songs. Momentum made it inevitable. Morning routine. Stuck approach. I'll wake up at 5 a.m. and do an hour-long routine. Too ambitious. Fails by day 3. Momentum approach. I'll get out of bed and drink water. Small win. Adds stretching next week. Adds journaling the week after. Routine builds naturally. Career change. Stuck approach. I need to completely reinvent my career. Feels impossible. Stays stuck in the same job for years. Momentum approach. I'll update 1 line of my resume. Next day applies to 1 job. Small actions create forward motion. Within months, new opportunities appear. 4. Scripts. What to say, what to think. I don't need to finish. I just need to start. Motion creates momentum. I move first, clarity follows. Small actions compound into massive results. I lower the activation energy until starting is effortless. I am someone who shows up. Every day I vote for that identity. Progress, not perfection. Objects in motion stay in motion. I start and I keep going. The hardest part is beginning. Once I'm moving, it's easy. I don't wait for perfect conditions. I create momentum now. Every small win fuels the next action. 5. Practical exercises. Exercise. 1. The 2-minute start. Choose a task you've been avoiding. Commit to working on it for just 2 minutes. Set a timer. Start. When the timer ends, you can stop or keep going. Most of the time, momentum will carry you forward. Exercise 2. Daily micro win. Each day, accomplish 1 tiny action toward your goal. Write 1 sentence. Do 1 push-up. Send 1 email. Track these wins. Watch momentum build over weeks. Exercise 3. Momentum journal. Each evening, write down 1 action you took that day that moved you forward, no matter how small. Celebrate it. This trains your brain to see progress and reinforces momentum. Exercise 4. Lower the barrier. Identify a habit you want to build. Now make it so small that it's laughably easy. Want to meditate? Start with 1 breath. Want to run? Put on running shoes. Lower the barrier until starting feels effortless. Exercise 5. Chain the wins. Once you've built momentum in one area, let it spill into others. Morning workout momentum leads to better eating. Better eating leads to sharper focus. Focus leads to productivity. Let momentum cascade across your life. Chapter 7. Dealing with resistance. Why your brain fights progress. Micro story. Every morning, Carlos wakes up with a plan. Today will be different. Today, he'll finally work on his dream project, the one he's been putting off for months. He sits at his desk, opens his laptop, stares at the screen. Then it hits. A wave of resistance. His mind floods with reasons not to start. Maybe I should organize my notes first. I'm not in the right headspace. Let me check email quickly. I'll start after lunch when I have more energy. He stands up, makes coffee, scrolls his phone. 2 hours vanish. The resistance wins again. Carlos feels shame. What's wrong with me? Why can't I just do the work? But Carlos isn't lazy. He's not broken. He's experiencing one of the most universal forces in human psychology, resistance. And until he understands what it is and why it exists, he'll keep losing to it. One day, Carlos learns the truth. Resistance isn't the enemy. It's a signal. It shows up strongest when the work matters most. The more important the task, the louder resistance screams. Once he stopped fighting it and started moving through it, everything changed. 2. Deep mechanism analysis. Resistance is the invisible force that keeps you from doing the work that matters. It's the voice that says, not today, not now, you're not ready. It's procrastination, distraction, self-sabotage, and rationalization wrapped into one. And it's not a character flaw. It's neurological self-protection. Here's why resistance exists and how to overcome it. The lizard brain's job is survival, not success. The amygdala, the oldest part of your brain, is wired for one thing: keeping you alive. Change, risk, and uncertainty trigger fear responses. When you attempt something new, important, or uncomfortable, your brain interprets it as a threat. Resistance is your amygdala screaming, stay safe, don't expose yourself, avoid failure. This worked well when threats were physical: predators, starvation, tribal rejection. But in the modern world, the threats are starting a business, having a hard conversation, or creating something meaningful. Your brain can't tell the difference between real danger and perceived risk, so it resists both equally. Resistance is proportional to importance. The work that matters most generates the most resistance. Writing a book? Massive resistance. Scrolling social media? Zero resistance. Why? Because one has stakes, potential for failure, judgment, or rejection. The other is safe. Resistance is your brain's way of protecting you from emotional exposure. This is why you can spend hours on trivial tasks but can't seem to start the one thing that could change your life. It's not laziness. It's your survival mechanism doing its job. Resistance disguises itself. Resistance is cunning. It doesn't say, I'm afraid. It says, when I need to do more research first. The timing isn't right. I'll start when I have more time. Let me just check this one thing first. These sound reasonable, logical, but they're lies. Resistance uses rationalization to keep you stuck. The work will never feel ready. The timing will never be perfect. Resistance will always find an excuse. Perfectionism is resistance in disguise. Perfectionism says, if I can't do it perfectly, I won't do it at all. This keeps you safe because if you never start, you never fail. But it also keeps you stagnant. Resistance loves perfectionism because it looks like high standards when it's actually fear. Resistance feeds on delay. The longer you wait, the stronger resistance becomes. Every time you give in, I'll do it tomorrow, you're training your brain that resistance works. The pattern deepens. The task grows in your mind until it feels insurmountable. The only way to weaken resistance is to act despite it, not after it goes away. It never does. Through it. The professional versus the amateur. Amateurs wait for inspiration. Professionals show up regardless. Amateurs negotiate with resistance. Professionals expect it and move anyway. The difference isn't talent. It's the refusal to let resistance win. Resistance isn't a wall. It's a doorway. On the other side is the work that matters. The only way through is motion. 3. Real-life scenarios. Starting a creative project. Amateur approach. I'll start when I feel inspired. Waits. Inspiration never comes. Project never starts. Professional approach. Resistance is here. That means this matters. Sits down, writes one sentence. Momentum begins. having a difficult conversation. Resistance-driven, not the right time. They're probably busy. I'll bring it up later. Months pass. Issue festers. Resistance-aware. This discomfort is resistance. The conversation is necessary. Schedules it. Has it. Relief follows. Working out. Resistance-driven. I'm too tired. I'll go tomorrow. Never goes. Resistance-aware. My brain is lying. I'll feel better after. Goes. Feels amazing. Resistance loses power. Launching a business. Resistance-driven. I need more preparation. Researches for years, never launches, stays safe, stays stuck. Resistance-aware. This fear means I'm on the edge of growth. Launches imperfectly, learns, adapts, succeeds. Public speaking. Resistance-driven. I'm not ready. I'll do it when I'm more experienced. Avoids opportunities, never improves. Resistance-aware. The fear means this is important. I'm doing it anyway. Speaks, survives, confidence grows. Writing or creating. Resistance-driven. I'll wait until I have a full day to really focus. Day never comes. Nothing created. Resistance-aware. I have 15 minutes. I'll start now. Creates. Builds momentum. Work gets done. 4. Scripts. What to say, what to think. Resistance is a sign I'm doing something that matters. The louder the resistance, the more important the work. I don't wait for resistance to go away. I move through it. My brain is trying to protect me, but I don't need protection. I need progress. Perfectionism is fear. I choose action over perfection. I expect resistance. It doesn't surprise me and it doesn't stop me. Professionals show up. I'm a professional. This discomfort is temporary. Regret is permanent. Resistance is a liar. I don't negotiate with it. I act first. Clarity follows. 5. Practical exercises. Exercise 1. Name the resistance. When you feel resistance, pause. Say out loud, "This is resistance." Naming it removes its power. Then ask, "What is this trying to protect me from?" Acknowledge the fear, then act anyway. Exercise 2. The 5-second rule. When resistance appears, count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, then move. Don't think, don't negotiate, just start. This interrupts the mental loop that keeps you stuck. Exercise 3. Resistance journal. For 1 week, write down every time resistance stopped you. What was the task? What excuse did resistance use? What did you do instead? Patterns will emerge. Awareness breaks the cycle. Exercise 4. Smallest possible action. When resistance feels overwhelming, shrink the task to the smallest possible step. Not write the chapter. Write 1 sentence. Not work out for an hour. Put on gym clothes. Once you start, momentum takes over. Exercise 5. Reframe the feeling. When you feel fear, anxiety, or discomfort before important work, reframe it. This feeling means I'm about to grow. Train your brain to associate resistance with opportunity, not danger. Chapter 8. Protecting your energy. The discipline of saying no. 1. Micro story. Jasmine is exhausted. She works full-time, volunteers on weekends, helps friends move, attends every social event, and always says yes when her family asks for favors. She tells herself she's being a good person, responsible, reliable, but inside she's collapsing. She has no time for her own goals, no energy for the work that matters. She's running on fumes, giving everything to everyone except herself. One evening, a friend calls asking for a last-minute favor. Jasmine's first instinct is to say yes. She always does. But this time she pauses. She's been reading about discipline, about systems, about focus, and she realizes something painful. Every time she says yes to someone else's priorities, she's saying no to her own. For the first time, Jasmine says, "I can't." I have other commitments. The friend is surprised, a little annoyed, but Jasmine holds firm. She hangs up and feels something unfamiliar, relief and guilt, but mostly relief. That night she works on her long-neglected project for 2 uninterrupted hours. For the first time in months, she makes real progress. She realizes saying no isn't selfish, it's survival. It's the only way to protect the energy required for what truly matters. 2. Deep mechanism analysis. Discipline is not just about what you do, it's about what you refuse to do. Most people think discipline is addition, more effort, more hustle, more action, but real discipline is subtraction. Saying no to distractions, obligations, and energy drains that don't align with your priorities. Your energy is finite. Every yes depletes it. If you say yes to everything, you have nothing left for what matters most. Here's why most people fail to protect their energy, and how to fix it. People-pleasing and social conditioning. From childhood, most people are taught that saying no is rude, selfish, or unkind. Being agreeable is rewarded. Being difficult is punished. Over time, this conditioning creates a default yes response. You say yes before you even consider the cost. But every obligation is a trade. Time, energy, and focus exchanged for someone else's priority. If you don't value your own time, no one else will. Fear of rejection and conflict. Saying no creates tension. People might be disappointed, upset, or offended. To avoid this discomfort, most people sacrifice their own needs. But people-pleasing is self-betrayal. Every time you say yes when you mean no, you erode self-respect. Over time, you become resentful toward others and yourself. Guilt and obligation. Many people carry a deep sense of obligation to family, friends, colleagues. They need me. I can't let them down. But obligation without boundaries becomes servitude. You're not responsible for managing everyone else's life. You're responsible for managing your own. Inability to prioritize. If everything is a priority, nothing is. Most people say yes to everything because they haven't defined what actually matters. Without clear priorities, every request feels equally important. Clarity is the antidote. When you know what's essential, saying no becomes easy. It's anything that doesn't align. Undervaluing your time. People protect their money fiercely but give away their time freely. Why? Because time feels infinite until it's gone. Every hour is an unreturnable investment. When you say yes to something trivial, you're saying no to something meaningful. Treat your time like your most valuable asset, because it is. The discipline of saying no is the discipline of prioritization. It's not about being cold, selfish, or unavailable. It's about protecting the energy required to show up for what truly matters. Your goals, your health, your family, your purpose. Saying no is an act of self-respect. It's a declaration. My time, my energy, and my focus are valuable. I will not give them away to anything that doesn't deserve them. 3 real-life scenarios. Work requests. No discipline. Boss asks for extra work on short notice. You say yes even though you're already overloaded. Burnout. Disciplined approach. I'm at capacity. I can take this on next week, or we can reprioritize my current tasks. Social invitations. No discipline. Friend invites you to an event you don't want to attend. You say yes out of guilt. Waste an evening. Feel resentful. Disciplined approach. Thanks for the invite. I'm taking some time for myself this week. Family obligations. No discipline. Family member asks for a favor that conflicts with your priorities. You cancel your plans to help. Your goals suffer. Disciplined approach. I'm not available right now. Let's find another time. Volunteering. No discipline. Sign up for multiple volunteer commitments. Overextend. Burn out. Stop showing up entirely. Disciplined approach. Choose one meaningful cause. Show up consistently. Protect the rest of your time. Networking events. No discipline. Attend every event because you never know. Exhaust yourself. No deep connections made. Disciplined approach. Attend selectively. Invest deeply in a few key relationships. Decline the rest. Helping others. No discipline. Drop everything every time someone needs help. Your own projects never move forward. Disciplined approach. I want to help, but I'm focused on my own priorities right now. Here's what I can offer instead. 4. Scripts. What to say, what to think. No is a complete sentence. I'm protecting my energy for what matters most. I don't owe anyone an explanation for my no. Every yes to something is a no to something else. I say no to distractions so I can say yes to my priorities. I am unavailable. That doesn't align with my current focus. I appreciate the offer, but I'm declining. I'm at capacity. Let me get back to you. Then decide thoughtfully, not reactively. My time is my most valuable resource. I protect it. I don't sacrifice my goals for someone else's convenience. Saying no is self-respect. I choose my obligations, they don't choose me. 5. Practical exercises. Exercise 1. The priority filter. Write down your top 3 priorities for the next 6 months. Every time someone asks for your time, ask, does this align with one of my 3 priorities? If not, say no. Exercise 2. The 24-hour rule. When asked for a commitment, don't answer immediately. Say, let me get back to you. This creates space to evaluate without social pressure. Most impulsive yeses turn into thoughtful nos. Exercise 3. Energy audit. For 1 week, track how you spend your time. Note which activities energize you and which drain you. Start saying no to the drains. Protect the energizers. Exercise 4. Practice saying no. Start small. Say no to 1 low-stakes request this week. Notice the discomfort. Notice that nothing terrible happens. Build the muscle. Exercise 5. No script library. Write down 5 ways to say no that feel authentic to you. Practice them. When a request comes, pull from your library instead of improvising under pressure. Chapter 9. Recovery and Resilience. Discipline after failure. 1. Micro story. Isaac had been flawless for 63 days. Every morning up at 5 a.m., workout, cold shower, focused work. His system was airtight. He felt invincible. Then life happened. A family emergency pulled him away for 3 days. His routine shattered. When he returned home, exhausted and overwhelmed, he slept through his alarm, skipped the workout, scrolled his phone for an hour. By noon, shame set in. I broke the streak. I ruined everything. The next day, he didn't even try. What's the point? I already failed. 1 missed day became a week. The system he'd built so carefully collapsed. Isaac believed he'd lost all his progress. He was back to 0. But Isaac was wrong. Discipline isn't perfection. It's recovery. The difference between people who succeed and people who don't isn't that successful people never fall. It's that they get back up faster. Weeks later, Isaac learned a critical truth. You don't lose discipline by failing once. You lose it by quitting after you fail. 1 bad day is noise. A week of quitting is a pattern. The fastest way back to strength is simply starting again. Isaac reset. Day 1. Again. This time he understood. Resilience isn't avoiding failure. It's refusing to let failure become an identity. 2. Deep mechanism analysis. Failure is inevitable. Perfection is a myth. If your discipline depends on never making mistakes, you've already lost. Real discipline is built on recovery, the ability to fail, learn, and restart without shame or delay. Here's why most people collapse after failure, and how to build resilience. All or nothing thinking. Most people operate in extremes. Either they're on track or they've completely failed. One missed workout becomes "I've lost all my progress." One unhealthy meal becomes "my diet is ruined." This cognitive distortion, called black and white thinking, is the enemy of resilience. In reality, progress is not binary. One setback doesn't erase weeks of effort. But if you believe it does, you'll quit. The abstinence violation effect. When you break a streak or violate a commitment, your brain experiences a psychological effect called the abstinence violation effect. You feel shame, guilt, and a sense of failure. This emotional cascade often leads to further violations. I already messed up, so I might as well keep going. One cookie becomes the whole box. One skipped workout becomes a week off. The initial failure wasn't the problem. The response to it was. Identity threat. When you've built an identity around discipline, I am someone who shows up every day, failure feels like an identity crisis. If I miss today, maybe I'm not that person after all. This identity threat triggers shame and avoidance, but identity isn't destroyed by one action. It's reinforced by patterns. One failure is an exception. Recovery is the pattern. Shame versus guilt. Guilt says I did something bad. Shame says I am bad. Guilt is productive. It drives corrective action. Shame is destructive. It drives hiding, quitting, and self-sabotage. When you fail, guilt says, I'll do better tomorrow. Shame says, I'm not capable of doing better. Learn to distinguish the two. Reject shame. Use guilt as fuel. The myth of the perfect streak. Streaks are motivating, but they're also fragile. When the streak breaks, many people collapse entirely. The truth is, streaks are tools, not goals. The goal is long-term consistency, not unbroken perfection. A 90% success rate over a year is far better than a 100% streak for 2 months followed by total collapse. Resilience is a skill. Resilience, mental toughness after setback, is not innate. It's trained. Every time you fail and restart, you're building resilience. Every time you face shame and act anyway, you're strengthening your capacity to recover. The more you practice recovery, the faster and easier it becomes. The formula for resilience is simple. Fail. Acknowledge it. Let go of shame. Restart immediately. Don't wait for Monday. Don't wait to feel ready. Restart now. The fastest way to regain momentum is to act, no matter how small the action. 3 real-life scenarios. Fitness relapse. Collapse response: misses one workout, feels shame, skips the rest of the week, quits the gym. Resilient response: misses one workout, acknowledges it, shows up the next day, momentum restored. Diet slip. Collapse response: eats one unhealthy meal, feels like a failure, binges for the rest of the day. I'll start fresh Monday. Resilient response: eats one unhealthy meal. Next meal is healthy. No drama, no shame. Continues forward. Productivity break. Collapse response: has one unproductive day. Feels defeated, stops trying for the week. Resilient response: has one unproductive day. Reflects, adjusts, productive the next day. Morning routine. Failure. Collapse response: sleeps through alarm. The routine is broken, I'll try again next month. Resilient response: sleeps through alarm, gets up anyway. Does a shorter version of the routine, momentum maintained. Business setback. Collapse response: launches a product, it fails, quits. I'm not cut out for this. Resilient response: launches a product, it fails, analyzes feedback, iterates, launches again. Creative block. Collapse response: sits down to write. Nothing comes, feels blocked, stops creating for weeks. Resilient response: sits down to write. Nothing comes, writes badly anyway. Momentum preserved. Quality returns later. 4 scripts: what to say, what to think. I failed today. I'll succeed tomorrow. One setback doesn't erase my progress. Perfection is not the goal. Consistency is. I don't quit after failure, I recover. Shame is a lie. I choose action over shame. I'm not starting over, I'm continuing forward. Resilience is my discipline. Every restart makes me stronger. I am not defined by one bad day. I fall, I rise, I keep moving. Recovery speed is my superpower. The streak is broken, my identity is not. This is temporary. My commitment is permanent. I restart immediately, no delay, no drama. 5 practical exercises. Exercise 1. The immediate reset. Next time you fail, miss a workout, break a habit, have an unproductive day, restart immediately. Don't wait for tomorrow. Do something, however small, to prove you're still moving forward. 1 push-up, 1 sentence written, 1 task completed, momentum preserved. Exercise 2. Failure Reflection Journal. After any failure, write down, what happened? What can I learn? What will I do differently? What's my next action? This turns failure from shame into data. Learning, not collapse. Exercise 3. Shame versus guilt check. When you feel bad after failing, pause. Ask, am I feeling guilt? I did something wrong? Or shame? I am something wrong? If it's shame, reject it. Replace it with a guilt-based action. I messed up. Here's what I'll do next. Exercise 4. The 90% rule. Track your consistency over a month. Aim for 90%, not 100%. If you hit 27 out of 30 days, that's a win. This mindset removes the pressure of perfection and celebrates resilience. Exercise 5. Restart ritual. Create a simple ritual for restarting after failure. Example, take a deep breath, say aloud, I'm back, and take 1 immediate action. This ritual signals to your brain, failure is temporary, recovery is automatic. Chapter 10. Sustaining Discipline for Life, from System to Lifestyle. 1. Micro story. 10 years ago, Elena could barely get herself to the gym once a week. She struggled to focus for more than 20 minutes. She started projects and abandoned them. Discipline felt like a constant uphill battle. Today, Elena runs a successful business, competes in triathlons, speaks 3 languages, and mentors dozens of people. Friends ask her, how do you stay so disciplined? She smiles. I'm not disciplined, I just don't think about it anymore. They're confused. Elena explains, discipline used to be a fight. I had to force myself to do things, but over the years I stopped relying on willpower. I built systems. Those systems became habits. Those habits became identity. Now, discipline isn't something I do, it's who I am. She doesn't wake up and debate whether to work out. She works out because that's what she does. She doesn't negotiate with distraction. Her environment is designed to eliminate it. She doesn't rely on motivation. Her life is structured so that discipline is the path of least resistance. Elena's secret isn't superhuman willpower. It's years of small, compounding decisions that transform discipline from an effort into a lifestyle. And that's available to anyone willing to play the long game. 2. Deep mechanism analysis. Discipline is not a phase. It's not something you do for a few months to reach a goal, then abandon. Real discipline is sustainable, woven into the fabric of your life so seamlessly that it stops feeling like discipline at all. Here's how to make discipline permanent. From willpower to automation. In the beginning, discipline requires willpower. You have to force yourself. You have to resist temptation. But willpower is exhausting and finite. The goal is to move from conscious effort to unconscious automation. This happens through repetition. When you repeat a behavior enough times, it becomes encoded in the basal ganglia, the part of the brain responsible for habits. At that point, the behavior requires almost no conscious thought. It's automatic. From systems to identity. Systems create consistency, but identity makes discipline permanent. When your actions align with your identity, I am someone who shows up, I am disciplined, I am focused, the behavior becomes self-reinforcing. You're not trying to be disciplined. You are disciplined. Identity is the deepest level of change. Compound interest of discipline. Small disciplines compound over time. One workout doesn't transform your body, but 500 workouts do. One day of focus doesn't build a business, but 1,000 days of focus do. Most people quit because they don't see immediate results. But discipline works on a delay. The results lag behind the effort. Trust the process. Compounding is invisible at first, then suddenly, undeniable. Environment becomes destiny. Long-term discipline is not about constant willpower. It's about designing an environment where discipline is easy and distraction is hard. Phone stays in another room. Healthy food is prepped. Workspace is optimized. The people around you support your goals. Over time, your environment does the heavy lifting. You're not fighting yourself. You're flowing with your design. Discipline is self-respect. At the highest level, discipline is an expression of self-respect. Every time you honor your commitments to yourself, you're saying, I matter. My goals matter. My future matters. This respect compounds. The more you show up for yourself, the more you believe in yourself. The more you believe in yourself, the easier it becomes to show up. The long game mindset. Short-term thinkers chase quick wins and burn out. Long-term thinkers build slowly, consistently, and sustainably. They know that 10 years of steady progress beats 10 bursts of intensity followed by collapse. They play the long game, and the long game always wins. Sustaining discipline for life is not about intensity. It's about consistency, systems, identity, and patience. It's about building a life where discipline is not the exception. It's the default. 3 real-life scenarios. Lifelong fitness. Short-term approach. Intense 90-day transformation, burns out, gains it all back. Lifestyle approach, works out 3-4 times per week every week for years. Fitness becomes permanent. Career growth. Short-term approach. Works obsessively for 6 months. Burns out. Quits. Lifestyle approach. Focused deep work every morning. Consistent. Compounds over a decade. Career soars. Learning and skill development. Short-term approach. Tries to learn a language in 3 months. Gives up when progress stalls. Lifestyle approach. 10 minutes of practice daily. 5 years later, fluent. Financial discipline. Short-term approach. Tries extreme budgeting. Feels deprived. Breaks budget. Repeats cycle. Lifestyle approach. Automated savings. Mindful spending. Small, sustainable habits. Wealth builds over time. Creative output. Short-term approach. Writes for 12 hours when inspired. Writes nothing for months when not. Lifestyle approach. Writes 500 words daily. Every day. 5 years later, 10 books published. Relationships and presence. Short-term approach. Quality time in bursts. Neglects relationships when busy. Damage accumulates. Lifestyle approach. Daily check-ins. Weekly date nights. Small, consistent connection. Relationships thrive. 4 scripts. What to say, what to think. Discipline is not a sprint. It's a lifestyle. I play the long game. Consistency over intensity, always. My discipline compounds daily. I design my life so discipline is automatic. I don't rely on motivation, I rely on identity. Small actions repeated for years create extraordinary results. I trust the process even when I don't see results yet. Discipline is self-respect in action. I am built for the long game. Every day is a vote for the life I'm building. I sustain discipline by making it effortless. This is not a phase. This is who I am. I am patient. I am consistent. I am inevitable. 5. Practical exercises. Exercise 1. The 10-year vision. Write down where you'll be in 10 years if you maintain discipline in 3 key areas: health, career, relationships. Visualize it. Let this vision guide daily decisions. Exercise 2. Quarterly system audit. Every 3 months, review your systems. What's working, what's not, what needs adjustment. Refine, optimize, lock in. Sustainable discipline evolves. It doesn't stay static. Exercise 3. Habit tracking. Track one core habit daily for an entire year. Use a calendar, app, or journal. Watching the streak build reinforces identity and reveals patterns. Exercise 4. Environment review. Walk through your home, workspace, and digital life. Ask, does this environment support my discipline or sabotage it? Remove friction from good habits. Add friction to bad ones. Exercise 5. Long game reminder. Create a daily reminder, a note, a wallpaper, a ritual that says, I play the long game. Let this mindset anchor every decision: patience, consistency, compounding, conclusion. You started this audiobook searching for focus, discipline, and momentum. By now, you understand that none of these are gifts. They're not personality traits you're born with or without. They are systems you build, identities you claim, and choices you make over and over again until they become who you are. Discipline is not perfection. It's not grinding yourself into exhaustion or punishing yourself for being human. It's the quiet, relentless commitment to show up, especially when you don't feel like it, especially when no one is watching, especially when progress feels invisible. You've learned why discipline fails when it's built on motivation alone. You've seen how your brain resists progress, how distraction is engineered to hijack your attention, and how resistance grows strongest when the work matters most. But you've also learned how to design around these forces, not by fighting them with willpower, but by building systems that make discipline inevitable. You've discovered the power of identity, that you don't achieve goals by trying harder, but by becoming the kind of person for whom those goals are natural. You've seen how momentum compounds, how small actions repeated daily create massive results, and how recovery after failure is the true measure of strength. You've learned to protect your energy, to say no to distractions, and to create environments where focus is automatic. You've built the mindset for the long game, the patience to trust the process, the resilience to recover from setbacks, and the discipline to sustain progress not for days or weeks, but for years. This is not the end. This is the foundation. The real work begins now, in the quiet morning when the alarm goes off and your body begs for more sleep, in the moment of distraction when you choose focus instead, in the failure that tempts you to quit and the decision to restart anyway. In the thousand small choices that no one sees but you and that determine everything. Discipline is not glamorous. It's not applauded in the moment. But over time, it becomes undeniable. The person who shows up every day, who builds systems instead of chasing feelings, who plays the long game with patience and precision, that person becomes unstoppable. You now have the tools. You have the knowledge. You have the framework. What you do with it is up to you. Build your systems, protect your focus, guard your energy, show up even when it's hard, recover when you fall. Trust the process, play the long game, and remember, discipline is not about becoming someone else. It's about becoming fully yourself, the version of you that refuses to settle, that honors commitments, that builds something meaningful with time, effort, and relentless focus. You are capable of extraordinary things, not because you're special, but because you're willing to do what most people won't. Show up, consistently, for years. The world rewards discipline, quietly, powerfully, inevitably. Now go build the life you've been dreaming of, one disciplined day at a time. If this audiobook brought you clarity, strength, or transformation, consider liking this audio and subscribing to the channel. Your support helps this message reach others who need it. Stay calm, stay strong, and remember, true power is quiet. If this audiobook has brought you clarity, strength, or peace, consider supporting the channel so more people can find this message. Please like this audio and subscribe. Your support helps this work reach those who feel overwhelmed, anxious, or unprotected, and gives them a path back to calm, confidence, and emotional freedom. Thank you for listening. Stay grounded. Stay wise. You are the anchor in every storm.